Number one, I've given you a true piece of information. Line segment AB, woo! Not going to tell you what that symbol means. We got to remember it from Unit 1, zip it. We're going to have to remember it from Unit 1 and know what it means. Because I want you to mark your diagram with something right now based on that given. Can you do that? If you know this is true, AB, whatever that means, and line segment BC, can you have a marking or markings, whatever you think, on your diagram right now? Go ahead. Put something, hopefully, from Unit 1. This is where we got to be. Hey, this is where we got to be now. Not tomorrow, not test day. We got to be here now, where you're able to read the given and mark your diagram immediately. Immediately. First question I have for somebody, what does that symbol mean in between line segment AB and BC? What does that line segment mean in words? What is that word there? What do you got, Zach?
It means perpendicular.
Perpendicular. So you've identified it. Now do you know what the heck it means? That's why I taught you all that vocab in Unit 1, and it's not going anywhere. Perpendicular, in your own words, what's it mean? 16, where are we going there? Tess. Anything that, I'll take anything. I don't need a straight up definition. If you know two things are perpendicular, that's all I need. Forms a right angle. So where up here would you like me to put that right angle in my diagram? Now it's time to mark your diagram. Odin, where's my right angle going? Okay. That is the least honors geometry thing I can hear today, is in the corner. Can we have a name for that?
That's like the vertex. I don't know.
Okay, how about angle B?
Oh, angle B.
Yeah, let's start naming these things here, all right? Like we belong here. Angle B is a right angle. So that's what I need. That's automatic. That's got to be automatic at this point. Oh, it's perpendicular. Here's my right angle. Questions about that? Now, not only do I want you to mark your diagram, I want you to, whatever you marked, I want it in words as well. And how we're going to do that is the following. We're going to organize this into two columns. A statement column and a reason column. Here's how we're going to organize all our thoughts based on that given. Whatever you write in the statement column has to be true. Must be true. Whatever you write here. And then over here, why it's true. Okay, everyone good? Anything you write in the statements has to be true. And then over here, you're going to back yourself up. Tell me why it's true. First statement I always want you to write. First statement is the given. Because that's always true. Whatever information I supply you will always be true. So the first thing I'm going to write is AB is perpendicular to BC. That's always our first statement. We always know that's true. And how do I know it's true? Because symbol. It's given. And everything I give you is true. All right, so that's always our first one. Everything else now comes from you guys. What did we just mark on our diagram? What did we just mark on our diagram? Tell me in your own words, what did we just mark? Zach, back to you. What did we just mark? What did we mark on our diagram?
A 90-degree angle.
Where?
At angle B.
So ready? Angle B is a right angle. And then also as well, you got some of you guys will like this. You can start abbreviating. Is a right angle. Only my abbreviations. Don't start doing your own, and then it looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics, and I can't decipher them. Okay, just follow mine. All right, here's probably going to be the toughest part today. How did we know to put a right angle there? How did we know we had a right angle at B? In your own words, how did we know to put a right? There had to have been something, and it's not because it looks like it. That's garbage. All right, we are never going to write because it looks like it. How are we sure that that was going to be a right angle? Talk to me. Kevin, how did we know? Thank you. We saw the perpendicular, right? But here's what I'm going to have you guys write. Perpendicular, and you can use the symbol. perpendicular lines form. Anybody want to finish this? Okay, 90 right angle. I'm going to put right angles because I put right angles in the statements. There it is. So this is where I'm forcing you to. I give you a piece of information. You mark it on the diagram. Tell me why it's true over here. And you'll start. I didn't mention this first, but everyone see how I label everything? Because I know now statement 1 goes with reason 1. Statement 2 goes with reason 2. Last thing before I move on. Don't add in your own stuff. You're looking, oh, well, you know what? BC looks congruent to AB. No, it's not. I never told you. So it's not. Oh, angle A and angle C are congruent. Why? How? There's nothing up there other than because it looks like it that makes you say that. And that's never a reason up here. Only go by what's given. Questions here? Now, for this one, yeah, I could only come up with one true fact. But as we do these, you're going to come up with a little bit more than just one true fact. Maybe there's 2, maybe there's 3 in the diagram. Is there anything you want to ask? One doesn't make you great, but anything you want to ask? Okay, got to know your vocab. Let's do this. Take a look at 2 now. Ray BD is the oh, there's another vocab word. This guy, he was right, is the bisector of angle ABC. All right, what do you got on your diagram for me then? All right, what do we got on my diagram? If Ray BD is the bisector of angle ABC. What are we putting on our diagram? And I want to know where you're putting it on your diagram. So first step, label your diagram. Okay, before I call on somebody here, and I don't want somebody to get nervous or embarrassed, rays can't be congruent. I'm not biased. Like, there should be 0 hash marks on your diagram. Okay, rays can't be congruent to each other. The only thing that can be congruent are segments. There's something else up here because of the bisector. What markings do you have on your diagram up here? What markings? Well, that was dramatic. John, what am I putting up here?
Putting up like those, I don't know.
Yeah, where are they though?
Right in the 2 angles, like.
Oh, name them.
ABD and
Should get one and
then DBC.
darn right. There you go. Now we're starting to talk. Everyone good? Why? Here we go. Everyone all right? Getting those markings. That's it. Those are the only markings you can put on. So let's go to our statements and reasons so you can list all the true facts about this diagram. First one, always the givens. All right, always the givens. You don't get credit for that, by the way. No partial credit because you can tell me the givens are true. And that's true because it's given. Now tell me what you did on your diagram. All right, that's how you can get your second statement. Tell me what you did on the diagram. Where are we going there? Kira, what did we just mark on the diagram?
We made arc marks, which means the angles are congruent.
Okay, so we are going to write that symbolically. That's why I taught you all those symbols in Unit 1. Angle ABD congruent to angle DBC. Why? Why? In your own words, tell me how you know those 2 angles are congruent. Why did you mark them on the diagram? Why? Not because they look like them. What gave us that, Violet?
Because the bisector cuts the angle in half.
Okay, what Violet just gave me was the definition of a bisector, and that's exactly, I'm not going to write that whole thing that she said. All I'm going to have you guys write is definition, and you can abbreviate a DEF of a bisector. Because that's what a bisector does, cuts it into 2 congruent angles. I'm not done either. I am going to add another one here. I'll give you the, I'm not going to ask anybody for this. I'll give you it. Is everyone all right here with my statement 2 and where I got it from? You got to know what that word means, right? Got it. All right, here's what I'm going to add to it because I know, and I'm adding to it because I know what's coming up down the line here this week. And you're going to have to know this fact as well. Also, because it's a bisector, angle ABD is equal to, I'm going to drop the congruent and put equal to, and I want to see if anybody can help me fill in the blank here. Something angle ABC, the full one. That's not true, right? That's not true, but I want, help me fill it. There's something that should go here, and it's not a lowercase m. There's something there should go here that makes this statement true now. ABD, Connor, go ahead, what do you have?
1/2.
Is 1/2. There you go. Is 1/2 the measure of ABC. Everyone agree? It's not a quarter. It's not a third. How do I know it's 1/2? What word do I have up there again?
Bisector.
Bisector. So definition of bisector again. Beautiful. I'm going to stop here, but can we all agree I could add a fourth one that says angle DBC instead, right? Equals 1/2 of ABC. We're not going to get nuts. I just want to focus on that though. All right, good. 2 more here. I know we're having fun, so am I. What's missing from there? Oh yeah, it's not a typo, sorry. Can you draw your own diagram though, based on that given and mark it correctly? Let's see it. M is the midpoint of AB. Draw it, mark it. Can you mark it now? Mark it. There should be some markings that go on this diagram if you know what midpoint means again. All right, help me out. What markings should go on my diagram and where should they go? 6. Where you going, Lucy? What markings and where? On?
A and M and then M and D.
Okay, perfect. I don't put them there unless I know what a midpoint is. All right, let's throw, here we go, statements. Reasons. M is the midpoint of AB. Surprised nobody asked the voting when we vote for survivor to vote somebody off. That's all anonymous. I give you a little slip of paper. You write down who you want to vote out. We fold it up. We put it in a bag. I shuffle them up and just read them off.
Wait, can you
So
ask,
nobody's going to know who voted for it. Oh, yeah.
Can you ask what people got?
No. Well, if they want to tell you, that's their call. But I'm not going to reveal any grades. That's for darn sure. Okay. I just read off the votes. That's all my job is. Next up, Lucy gave us AM congruent to MB. Remember, whatever you mark on your diagram, write it in your statements. How do we know those 2 segments are congruent? That's going to be part of my reason there. In your own words, and then I'll put what I want up here. Gage, how do we know those 2 are congruent?
Because M is the midpoint.
Okay.
It's the definition.
Definition of midpoint, just like I did for bisector. Make sure, please use the word midpoint. If you use definition of a bisector, I'm going to say I never gave you that word. Use the words that are given. Definition of a midpoint. I'm going to have you write one more thing up here too. Similar to what I had you write for number 2. AM is equal to not AB, but 1/2 AB. Yes, I want you to try to get in that habit. If something's being cut in half, tell me it's 1/2 the length. And this would also be definition of a midpoint. Yep. And could I have used MB instead of AM? Yes, I could have. Same thing. Yes, go ahead, Kira. Yep.
Could you say AM plus MB equals AB and then definition of a midpoint?
I wouldn't use definition of a midpoint. I would just say addition.
Okay.
Just use addition. But yes, you could say that. Yep. But that has nothing to do with the midpoint. Okay, because if I moved M over and it's not the midpoint, it could still be true. What you just said, correct?
Yes.
So it's just by addition there.
But you'd
Okay.
accept that as an answer?
You can, yes. Yep. Now, somebody asked me second period, and it comes up every year, like, how much do you want me to write? For today, I want you to write as much as you can. All right? Starting tomorrow, you're going to find out, we're going to start putting puzzle pieces together and figuring out, all right, I really don't need this, but I need this to write down. Okay, so for just today, write down as much as you can. Write down as much as you can. Oh, I love this last one. I love this last one. We have always been relying on vocabulary terms to tell me how I should mark my diagram and what's true. All right, you saw bisector, you saw midpoint, and you saw perpendicular. 3 pretty strong vocabulary words from Unit 1. Now I look at the given, and I don't have any vocabulary words. Certainly not intersect. All right, that wasn't one of our vocab words. So now, you got to look at the diagram and tell me what's true. All right, we have 2 intersecting lines up there. There should be a slew of things you know is true now from Unit 1. And I want to use vocabulary terms. All right, I want to use our vocabulary terms from last unit. So I know there's no vocabulary term in the givens to rely on, but that shouldn't stop you. That shouldn't stop you here. There's some true stuff up here. Okay, there's some true stuff. So I'm going to get away from the numbers here because this one might be tough. You might not see anything right away. But anything is true about my diagram right now that you know is definitely 100% true by the diagram. Go ahead, Evan.
WSI is congruent to ESR.
Oh, I love that. Love it. Love it. Let me mark it on my diagram because obviously Abby knows what's going on here. WSI congruent to ESR. Why? Let's just talk about it before we start writing this stuff down here. Zach? Vertical angles. We got to notice that. Hey, everyone stop. I will never, ever tell you or give you that they're vertical. That's your job to notice. Okay, everyone good? You will never see in the givens WSI and ESR are vertical. You have to notice that and then say they're congruent. Perfect. So let's get that down. There's more I want, though. All right, so not much there. WR intersects IE given. Next up, let's write those vertical angles now. Angle WSI congruent to angle ESR. Is everyone all right too? Can I throw the other pair of vertical angles in there too? Yeah, and I want to show you, anytime you have the same reason, you can put multiple statements together as long as they both have the same reason. Okay? So angle WSE is congruent to angle ISR. And there is something specific I want here. Again, how did Abby know they were going to be congruent? Because she recognized they were? Okay, so we're not going to write definition of vertical angles here, because it's not. The definition of vertical angles just says it's 2 angles opposite each other when 2 lines intersect. We're going to write the theorem. You guys, I don't know if you remember that word, theorem from Unit 1 that we wrote down, which was vertical, self-respect, spell it correctly, CAL. Vertical angles are congruent. That's what I want there. I do not want definition, because the definition of vertical angles is not they're congruent. It's a fact about vertical angles. Thank you, Abby. Perfect. I want more. I'm hungry. Something. Whoa! Look at, jeez. We're on fire over here. I need more up here. Will, what do you got over there, boss?
Angle ESR plus angle RSI is equal to 180.
Nice. You said plus equals 180. What's the name for those two angles, though, if I can add them together and they give me 180? Supplementary. Okay, look, and I'm just going to take Will's angles. Could I also take these two, and these two? Yeah, I could. I could take any combination of two that are next to each other. Awesome. Yes, I love that. So angle, what were your angles again?
ESR.
ESR, and I'm not even going to put plus. I'm just going to put and angle
RSI.
RSI. All right, you guys don't have to tell me they add up to 180. Just use the word, which is? So R supplementary. And I'll let you abbreviate that. I don't want to see any I's in there. That's another one that's spelled all the time incorrectly.
Where would you put an I?
And for the E, everyone says suppla, and they think it's an I. Yeah, I know, it's embarrassing. And this is the other theorem I taught you from Unit 1. I taught you vertical angles are congruent. Anybody know why these are supplementary? What type of angles? I know they're supplementary. What type of angles do we call these? Look, they're adjacent, and they form a straight line. What do you got over there, Jacob? Linear pairs. And that was the other theorem I gave you guys. Linear pairs are supplementary. So I would suggest 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, you tell me two angles are supplementary, this is probably going to be your reason. Well, what's the other 0.1? I got to know. It might be given. Okay, might be given. That's the other 0.1%. Anything? Questions, comments, concerns? Yes?
Could you say the vertex of one of the angles is S?
It's not telling me much, though. All right, now we're really, for me, that's grasping for straws. Like this right here, they're supplementary, they're congruent. Now you're telling me something about the angles. Okay? Same thing like ESI equals 180. Okay, all right, I know all lines do. Is that what you're going to say, Tess?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, if there's like a lot for like one of the questions, you have to say off them.
And I was just about to get into that. For the assignment tonight, I just don't want the givens written down. You have to come up with at least another statement that you know is true. If you can do more, do more. Okay, but at least give me one statement after the givens that you know is true. All right, good. Questions? Look at your vocabulary terms that come up in the givens. Look at your vocabulary terms. As you guys are, Violet, go ahead, sorry.
Do we always have to write the given?
Okay, I thought this was going to come up later in the week. Even at honors level, we get some laziness, which happens. And I start seeing this. If some of you already thought about it, great. Instead of writing it, I'll just put an arrow there, right? If you want to do that on your homework notes, that is your call. But when it comes quiz and test times, we are writing out the givens. Okay, because when you take the Regents in June, they have to take off points if you don't write it in. Okay, so homework notes, I don't care about it. It doesn't bother me. If you just want to draw an arrow in there instead of writing it all out. But quiz, test in here, yes, you do have to write it for me. Okay? All right, you guys can get started.